Welcome back to the Loan Officer Experience podcast. We're here to keep it real, helpful, and way more interesting than your typical mortgage talk. And today, I'm going to tell you, we're here joined by someone who's not just leading a lender, but also reshaping how brokers experience lending. Rob Pieklo is president and CEO of AFR. And while I'm relatively new to AFR, guys, personally myself with my team, I've got to tell you, the pricing, Rob, the process, the communication, all of it's been smooth, easy, and impressive. But what I always like to say is this is an episode about production, rate sheets, and guidelines. It's about pulling back the curtain. Who is AFR, but really? Like, who are they really? What are they doing to help brokers win? And what lessons can we learn from a CEO who came all the way from New Jersey and now leads a national wholesale lender? Rob, let's dive in and welcome to the show.
KT, thank you so much for having me. Excited to be on this one. And first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for believing in us. It takes a lot to even send one borrower our way. We know how hard it is to get a loan out in the real world. So when someone sends a few loans our way, and hopefully we're doing a great job for you, but we want to say thank you for that first, because that's at the end of the day, if we know we take care of you and your customers, the loans will come. We know that part. So thank you for having me on this, and I'm excited to get this show on the road, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So a little bit, I don't like coming on and just talking mortgage products and all those different types of things. I like to get to know people. I think we do like to get to know the people that we're going to work with. And so I know you're a Jersey guy living in Florida now. Give us a little backstory about Rob Pieklo. Like, just a little bit of history about you, man. I want to know about you.
Oh man, where do we start? Oh, we started in 2003, way back. I was just a baby. But
That's when I
2003,
started. Yeah.
and we got into the business as a loan originator. I was actually a fiber optic project manager for a large telecom company, and had a friend. I tell this story all the time. One of my best friends, Sean Hammond, he kind of drove up in a Porsche Boxster convertible and was like, "You got to try this mortgage thing." And I jumped in the passenger seat and we were off, and that was it. But that's the actual story. Is Sean Hammond got me into the business way back when I was a loan originator. Started a small team, did a internet marketing group before it was cool. Like we were online doing SEO traffic stuff way back in the day. So we were driving leads, had a little bit of a kind of a call center environment. We were brokering deals at that point. And then as the company grew, as this is at AFR actually, as AFR grew, I grew along with it. I got the opportunity to do things I was not qualified for. And that's where I feel like the majority of my knowledge in the space is we kind of progressed from broker to lender to, a Fannie and Freddie and Ginnie issuer. Kind of went up the ranks, and I got a chance to run all of retail originations at that time. I had a chance to run capital markets in 2010, which was pretty crazy. I didn't know anything about it, read a few books and got to trade and kind of fell in love with the capital markets world. Got to, even took a gap accounting class to learn about mortgage accounting, because I was just enthralled with how that works. It's so confusing, and it's something that really still to this day really doesn't make much sense on how things are accounted for. But it makes sense of why lenders do certain things. But in 2017, I left AFR. Just the company had grown, and they kind of didn't want to grow much anymore. And I wanted to grow. I wanted to get to that next level of originations, and had a vision. We parted ways, and I sold my shares back to the shareholders at that time, and then went on to a big servicing origination company. That was publicly traded for a little bit, and then started my own brokerage and was in the broker channel, and kind of bolted on to a larger broker and non-del company, and had this opportunity come back to me with a friend from high school, actually, who went from PennyMac to a fund where they were looking to purchase an originator. And I was like, hey, I know somebody. And we had an opportunity to go in, and took about 14 months or so, but we were able to acquire AFR, and kind of that was, 15 months ago. So in February 2024 is how that started. And And then I got a chance to lead the organization, to lead the organization. And, we are, I fell in love with the broker channel when I was in it. And that's the honest truth. You see me and Bab a lot. I'm always commenting, chiming in even before this role, beforehand when I was a broker. And I love to provide any knowledge that I can. And most of the time talk about the mistakes that I've made. I've messed up a ton of things, and like to provide that to the broker community to understand where lenders are coming from, where we're coming from, and kind of bring the front end to the back end part of the mortgage space. And it's been an incredible ride so far.
Man, I love that story. It's almost as, did you start, was AFR your first job in the mortgage space?
No. And it was, we had, I had a typical mortgage experience where I was like, my first job was about a month long, and I was like, I got to get out of here. The things that are happening in this office, I can't be here, and jump ship and went to and then went to AFR.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, so you can kind of say that, but full circle, pretty cool, man. It's a really cool story. I didn't know that. I'm glad I asked you that question. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners are enjoying that question as well. That's good to know. So let me ask you this. What's your favorite part about leading AFR?
Yeah, it's honestly this. It's representing the team and getting to be the front man of the incredible band. I'm like a mediocre singer, but I'm the front man, and we have this amazing team, amazing guitarists and drummers, and it's just I get to live every single day in my dream job, right? Which is really try and lift and make the team and shift the company in a direction that they weren't going before. So having this initial portion, this smaller portion of success, and getting to tell the story of what we're trying to do and being genuine and honest about what we're trying to do, that part is my favorite. I love just representing the team out in the public and representing the broker community when I get the opportunity.
Yeah. So I had heard about AFR years ago, and then it wasn't maybe a year ago, pretty recent. I had met with a good friend of mine, Tyler Hodgins, you know him. And
Oh,
I
cool.
said, "Hey man, how's business going?" And, I asked him, who's been your lender, mix? And AFR was at the top. I was like, huh, that's interesting. I've known Tyler for many years and trust him, and we've coached together. And he mentioned AFR, and I said, okay, well, I've recently just signed up with AFR and became a lender partner with you guys, or a broker partner with you guys. And I have a team that helps me, get my personal production closed, and I'm not in the trenches working with AFR like they are. And so I took the liberty to say, hey, I know we just started. We've been 3 weeks in with you guys. We've closed 2 loans. We've got 3 more in. Um, and this is what they said, right? And I'm not framing this or staging this inaccurate. Like, this is exactly what my team wrote me. They
I'm
said
not
the
gonna lie, I'm
portal.
slightly nervous. I'm slightly
Yeah, I know you. They said the portal is very user friendly, right? The only hiccup they had was a VA registration, but she said it was the first time to use it. So next time it'll be a little simpler for us. But we closed 2 VA loans on time with no issues, which is always fun. I'm a big VA lender. We've been able to get the underwriters on the phone, talk through small things with no problems. Pricing is great. And I will say, man, y'all's pricing is unreal. And my thing, and I'm not a price guy. Like, I'm just not. I'm not a price guy because I would prefer having the service over the pricing if I had to pick one. Like, if I had to pick one, I would go less on comp, or, a better rate. A higher rate than not have the service. And so I think the service is a big deal. And so sometimes I do get nervous when I saw pricing for AFR. I'm like, oh man, here we go. Like, typically when you have that competitive pricing, it doesn't always match with the service, just from my personal experiences, right? Um, from years ago, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like everyone's done very good job at servicing the broker community and the loan officers. So the pricing is great. Post closing has been pretty easy to deal with, to get loans purchased off the warehouse line. So I'm a correspondent lender. That's a big deal to me. I know most brokers aren't. If you're listening to this, that's fine. But if you are, um, that piece is important to me, because that process has to be very easy and quick for me, obviously. And then they send out email for a status update each time a file is touched or moved. And I do remember them speaking about that about a week or so ago. They're just like, dude, I love AFR, how they're communicating. And so, yes, you know, AFR is somebody that I've recently started working with, but yes, I do. I can like honestly and with integrity and, you know, put you guys in a positive light because I've had some positive experiences. You know, we even talked about there's no perfect lender out there. Everyone makes mistakes, everyone has challenges, but you know, when we spoke just before we started this show, you had said something that was like, "Hey, you know, yeah, no one's perfect, but man, if you just tell me if there's any rub that you have about how we operate or a process or you know, that we're doing internally, if you tell me, I can probably fix it for you." Let's speak to that a little bit.
It's a different mindset. Like I don't have it all figured out. I am not a top tier originator. I don't originate loans. Like we don't originate loans. Our job here is to facilitate a level of service that you guys can originate loans and do more. We'll touch on a couple things. For us is pricing side first, and we pay attention to everything we possibly can, pricing and passing through everything we possibly can. Where traditionally a company would get the loans in and make more money when they can. I think that's a hindrance to get the loans in. I want to price it in the fashion I can get them. So I find the axes in the secondary market first, and well, the team does. I'm not saying me, but the team finds the axe and we push it through in pricing so we can have the opportunity to compete without having to cut comp or make huge changes to be able to compete with the retail lenders that are going thin sometimes. And then the feedback loop, I think a lot of times broker community thinks we're a different type of company, or there's some kind of stonewall where you can't speak to or get to the people that are leading the way. There's these 27 levels of command. Like, you saw my pricing. I don't have 27 levels of command. I couldn't afford it. Like, what we have is like I am taking in everything we possibly can. Do we make a change every single time we get a suggestion? No. But holy cow, when there's common sense moves or changes to a guideline or process or something in the portal that's annoying, we have a bunch of incredibly good originators that are like, man, in your portal, you just don't have like a bar that shows all the details of the loan. We have to scroll down a little bit, and it's kind of annoying to scroll all the way down. And I was like, oh, okay. And like a month later, next release, it's out. Our
Yeah.
team develops, builds it, and it's out. And it's like, this is what we want. I want the feedback because, if you don't get the feedback, I just don't get the loans because you didn't like the service level or didn't like something about what we did. So if I get the feedback and I can help an originator, go through the process, or more so a processor or an LOA get through the process of getting and they enjoy working with us, we know that next loan is coming, and we're building something that's better. We're building every single day. We're on I think I'm on like the 30th release or 20 something release this year in Loan Center. So the team is nonstop building and changing and making things better for the community, all from feedback. We get it in and we take it in and we see what we can actually maneuver and change, and we make change.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. If you're not changing, you know, and progressing, you're not going to grow.
I'm nuts. I
So,
see it all. I see every comment. I see every reply, every single thing that goes in there, either good, bad, and different. You'll see me in there. I dive head
you
first.
know
I,
it.
I don't care. And I love the negative. There's brokers that I know said I would never, it was like, I should have a segment of doing like mean tweets, where I can read some of these comments for you when we took over
Yeah.
about AFR. And it was like, one of them I think was like, what suggestions do you have so we can do better in the future? And someone wrote, fire everybody and burn it down. that's that's the suggestion that we got. We're
It's
like,
brutal.
it's like, oh my goodness, like these are humans here. We're all trying. But we make change and we go through it, and we, like I said, to get that feedback, and we'll go head first. Even if it's a negative feedback, but we'll get brokers that would say they would never have used AFR. We'll never use them again. They had the worst experience 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and they're using us now. And they're sending
Yeah.
us, maybe not all the loans, but they're sending us 2, 3, 4 loans a month. And we're seeing a lot more of those top tier origination companies and originators that once they get a little bit of the price and understand the system, and they get the things that come in and the loan comes in, they understand how to navigate.
Mhm.
The next one comes quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Well, I mean, I'm a good example of that as well. We sent 5 to you pretty quick and, I've done that before with other lenders, and it happened not, and I'm not bashing anyone, but I've done that recently, and I've sent it in 4 loans and only 1 closed, and we had to pull 3 and close them somewhere else. But it was just kind of a clunky process. We were still kind of learning it, and sometimes, it takes time, but to be able to send 4 or 5 loans to someone and not be clunky is a big win for for us guys in the trenches. So let me ask this. So there's a lot of loan officers I feel who have heard AFR. I was one of those people, but hadn't used you yet. How would you describe what makes AFR different?
Yeah. We're not that different. We're not that different from some of the other lenders that are out there. I say what differentiates us is the feedback loop that we have and the opportunities that you have to be a partner. That's the only way I describe it, is that we're listening.
Yeah.
I'm listening. The team is like, they're hell bent on service levels and making things better for us, for you guys. And what we do differently is really on the capital market side. We service levels are everything. And I talk about it with my team nonstop. Like you can have the best price on the planet, but my turn times are at 7, 10, 12 days. You're not getting any loans. So it doesn't matter how good your price is. So, from that standpoint, from the capital markets world, we got to keep our service levels, right, which luckily we've been able to do that recently. And then passing through things that others just like, I want to say that we're first to a lot, in terms of pricing and execution. I focus on it a lot because I know how much it matters for brokers to keep their comp level intact and compete against those that are going to go thinner. Like when there's a deal that needs to be had, they look to AFR, and I'm incredibly proud of that. The fact that, we'll go out and we'll find, opportunity in creating a certain type of pool in the secondary markets. And I don't sit there and just glom that. We take that and we're like, holy cow, we can get this much better execution. Let's pass that through, which is why sometimes you'll see our stuff. It's like, why are they so far ahead? They're like, 70 or 80 basis points ahead of the next guy. And for us, it's because like we're content with the margin strategy we have. And if that loan means you can win 2 more loans that month for you guys, that's great. And we're going to have our margin intact. We'll be okay. And we'll deliver. So that capital markets mindset of bringing that back end of what's happening on Wall Street and taking that through and passing it to the broker community, it's not too many people have done that in the past. Not just the best price. We're talking about the best type of product and loan, whether it's loan balance or whatever. Like my rate sheet is your head spins when you look at it. It's because we need to find ways to get that price to you in your hands so you can talk to consumers and win deals.
And I love that. It reminded me of the few loans that we'd sent to you guys. One was hard, Rob. It was a hard loan. And I got the same service and pricing on that one than I did a cookie cutter. Easy in and out, cookie cutter transaction. That's important. That matters. Like it does. It's a huge difference. And I can definitely speak to that because that's what we experienced. What do you think? And now I know you guys are, you're the traditional loan products, in a lot of paper stuff, but what do you think if you had to pick a couple of things that you guys were really good at or kind of felt like you were slam dunks for AFR, what would you say they were?
Yeah. So right now, with our latest MSR execution out on the planet, so our pricing is great all across the board. But like if you look at what we're super strong, it's that 150 to $350,000 loan balance. I mean, we crush in that level. And when you have higher quality originations that come in, they're easier to turn and easier to provide service levels for, right? When you have, I kind of laughed. There was a bad post of somebody was complaining about another lender's, 6 or 7 day turn time on like a, 581 manual, underwrite kind of loan. It was like, how they don't want the business. And I was like, well, yeah, like that's tough. Like, back in the day, people were waiting, 2, 3, 4 weeks for an origination, for an underwrite of something like that. And now like 6 days is like way too long. Thanks UWM, you've done that. But anyway, that part of it is just funny. The type of loan matters, and it's very difficult to scale a business when you're getting only the stuff that other people don't do. And that's traditionally when a broker signs up with a new lender, they're not like, oh great, I had this 740 FICO, 20% down conventional loan I was gonna send over here to this number one lender in the world, but I'm gonna send it to this new lender instead. They never do that, right? They're always like, oh man, this one got got the shit canned at this lender, and this one got some hair on it. Let me throw this at the lender and see what they can do. So we understand that part. We understand that part of the business. But if I'm in the broker seat and I want to really truly test if a lender is going to be a partner, I would send like a normal loan. I would send a normal loan if you have one, and see how they can provide the service levels there. I know you don't want to give up something that's guaranteed over here, but if pricing's really good and the service levels are good, it's worth taking that shot and see what they can really do on that type of loan. And that's something we want. Like we want that segment of loan, good FICO, good quality. You're going to get great service levels. If you use us more than once, you're going to get great service levels. You understand the system and understand how the business works. Like people have to get familiar with each other. And just Jenny, I love you commented on a post of saying like, hey, like let's not judge a lender by one single condition on one single loan. And that makes so much sense. If you think about it, like it's this is the word partnership gets thrown around a lot, and it means a lot to me. And our partners are crushing it with us. They're crushing with us, and the ones that maybe aren't putting together the best file or sending stuff in, we still do everything we can to get it done. And sometimes they're the loudest people out there, but at the end of the day, you're seeing partners crush, and you see the disparity of comments about AFR all the time. It's like, well, how are you doing so many loans and having such great level of service? It's because it's partnership, and that's key to how we succeed going forward.
And I love that, Rob. And it's so true. I think that loan officer, like, first of all, be a better loan officer. Like that's number one. Like you've got to, how well you show up for your lender partner. If you throw it against the wall and hope that it sticks, it's probably not. And garbage in is garbage out a lot of times. But what gets me the most sometimes is that, I know how realtors have treated loan officers in our industry, and we don't like that feeling, yet we do it to our lender partners, right? And to your point, I don't. You're right. I don't believe that we should judge them off of one loan. I always like to send a few loans, maybe even 10, and you'll get your feel. You'll get, who you want to do business with and who you can count on. And, and of course, it's a mindset thing too, Rob. Like I don't have very many lenders I hate or don't like. I just have ones that I prefer and that are strong relationships for me. And everyone has to, and it's a personal thing a lot of times. Like you like who you like, and everyone has a different product mix too, different regions of the world, or the United States. And so let me ask this. What is it like if I was to, I just want to see behind the scenes of AFR, like internally, what's the culture look like there? What are you most proud about in regards to your team and the culture and what you guys have created that we don't get to see on the origination side?
Man, the amount of how this team cares, like you would not believe it. And I talk about all the time if I'm doing like a board meeting or if I'm talking to our investors or whatever, like we talk about it quite a bit, and saying like, you guys like sometimes don't see what goes on behind the scenes. When we took over, it's not that they weren't trying or cared. It was a different leadership style of the company that was there before. It was more like a loan came in and you're lucky we offer this loan, broker, and we'll close it in our time and you'll like it. And that's kind of the attitude that was there. And they had a good business. It was a niche product business, and that's what they did. I don't believe in that part. Like if we know how hard it is to get a loan, you have to sometimes get back to the front lines to have an understanding of what it's like and what the phone calls are like when you get from realtors and builders and other stuff that happens. And really taking that loan and being incredibly grateful that we got that one loan and that mindset is like, you battled for that loan, you won it. You could have picked 250 lenders, you chose us. Like, holy cow, we have to crush. And for you and for your role partners, like, so for us, that mindset and that shift to the team, it took a little bit. There was no core values at the company. We created core values that were focused around the things that we really want to care. Like we care about the experience. We care about being curious and learning. We don't want to do things the way he's always done it. If a loan officer has a guideline that say, hey, your guideline is wrong, don't say, no, it's not. It's here. Say, holy crap, let me research this before we deny the loan or say we need this condition. Like listen and take that feedback. And we see that you turn around our engagement levels for a month that we do a month in review, kind of going over a month. And I think our first month in review, excuse me, we might have had like 10 different forms of engagement during the hour long or 45-minute long call. The last month in review that we had over 1,000. So we had 200 people on our team. We're on a call. We had over 1,000 engagements, reactions, comments, chat group, like while we're giving our month in review, and the team is just bought in and are on board for what we're building and where we're going. And is it the same exact team we had when we took over? No, probably, 30% different mindset, but all it took was that team and changing what the focus was, creating core values, and everything runs around our core values here. And with a huge emphasis on the experience, and that has changed everything. So the team is all in. We're excited about where we're going. The team is, 10 o'clock at night, you might get a message from somebody on something, or making a phone call out to a broker, responding to a message, responding to that did not exist, a year and a half ago. So we're very proud of where the team has come and the commitment that they have to the broker community. It's been fun to watch.
That's awesome. It's always like, I always like to have a visual of what it's like, behind the curtain with some of these lender partners, and especially some of the ones that, we don't often go see, or, you're not at their location, different states. It's just nice to really think about it. So one of the things I want to ask is, from a broker business wisdom mindset slash, comparison, maybe even, what do you have the benefit of being able to see what top producing loan officers are doing, or top producers are doing, and what makes them different? Like what are those loan officers doing that others might not be doing?
Yeah. I mean, focusing on the things that matter. I mean, you see the top originators, and I always talk about the loans that don't go well. And you have the top originators don't sit there and write 5-page dissertation of how you messed something up and what's going on. It is solutions based. Hey, this is where we're at. We can review it later, like overall process. I need this to get this closed, to get this done. Can you guys make this happen? And it's very clear, concise, and those kinds of communications I just love, right? You have the communication. Those top originators don't stew over things that are out of their control. They don't worry about rates, or they forgot to lock something, or they need to do something. That's not a focus of the top originators. File quality is another one. The best originators, the reason that they're able to do so many loans is they don't have to go back and fix things. The file quality, when it's submitted, you see it. Like if I took my top, 15, 20% of originators of their file quality, like we can turn those things. If all of my originations were like that, like we would absolutely turn them as fast as UWM does. It's the other parts of the loan that create an issue. So those top originators always have really high quality originations, and they don't harp on things that don't matter. They're focused on their activities. They're focused on a relationship, making sure we're keeping that partnership with the real estate agent or referral partner or financial advisor, whoever it is. They want to keep that going, and they get right to the point, and they come in with the solutions with me, and we work on things all the time. And those conversations are my favorite. Is the loans went great. I'm very happy to hear that your loans went great so far. But if we have one that goes a little bit sideways, like you're the type of person that's going to be like solution focused first, and then when we're done and it's solved for, it's like, boy, this part of the process, if this could be tweaked, that would be awesome, because we would have caught this earlier. And I'm on board, and we make those changes. So that's the difference we see with the true top tier originators, especially the ones that once we get a little bit of flow going with some of the originators, they tend to send quite a bit of loans our way.
Yeah, I love that. So let me ask this: what advice would you give an LO that's looking to do more and to grow in the markets that we're in?
Boy, it's a really good question, because you see it, and it's unfortunate to see, like there's some simple activities to be done, and you don't need to change companies 9 times and change leadership 9 times and go to, like, there is so much out there with really good originators providing you a playbook for free. They're giving you what they're doing, and it's not a AI build gen, this change tech focus thing. No, it's like grassroots activity spurs loans. That's shocking. That's what it is. Be an expert, understand your craft, and just sit. And if you want a mentor, that's great. Line up with a mentor, whether it's at a company that provides that or some coaching. But doing the activities, what you have at your fingertips between YouTube and what's online and what some of these top originators provide to others for nothing is amazing. So all you have to do is do a couple searches, and you'll have the whole playbook in your hands, and just acting on that. It's amazing how people talk about originators, or they'll say that it's lucky to get that originator. I wish I had that kind of partnership. And it's not even those that have 10, 15 years of experience and have been in there. There's originators that use us that are 2 or 3 years in the business, and they're doing 10, 15, 20 loans a month. It's incredible to see and witness. And that didn't require, pre-COVID relationships. This is stuff that's happening now because they're the only ones that are acting. People like to sit and talk about the action and not do the action. And those that do the action are winning in this market. It's crazy to watch volume levels where they are. I mean, we were 4.4 trillion in 21, and we're struggling to catch 1.2 trillion now. And you're seeing originators have the best years they've ever had. And that's, to me, that's just all about the activity, all about the fact that there's way less originators out there doing the work, and you have an opportunity right now that's probably been better than you've ever seen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've seen that recently with some local real estate agents. I pulled the production for last year, and I was looking at all these real estate agents, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, a lot of the realtors that I know on this list have low production, but there's a lot of new names, or a lot of names that are up and coming that did a lot of production. And I think this happens to loan officers a lot of times too, is they get stuck in doing business the same way. And when the markets shift, you have to shift with it. And I think a lot of loan officers did not go back to the basics and focus on the money-making activities, and, go back to the things that helped them, start their careers and be successful doing those things, because they got away from them. And I think a lot of originators lost their confidence as well. And you just have to get back to the basics sometimes. So I love what you said, and couldn't agree more. Um, so now that you live in Florida, what New Jersey food do you love that you can't get in Florida?
Oh man. But I mean, listen, I'm going to go with the staples, there's one thing I do every time I go up to Jersey. I go right for pizza. That's like immediate. My waistline shows it. Like, that is number one there. It's pizza and bagels. Everybody says it. And how I describe it is, it's not just pizza. It's like the Italian food kind of part of it. And there's some good restaurants in Tampa, but like in New Jersey and New York, you like that mediocre, like what you would deem that mediocre kind of mid-level Italian restaurant is like a superstar restaurant down south in Florida. So like, I miss just driving down and seeing a Italian restaurant in a strip mall and kind of eating at that place and having like a really good Italian meal. And there's 50 of them within 50 miles that are like that, where you get one in 50 miles down in Florida.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to ask you another question. So I think I heard you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. Is that right? Or
Tampa fan.
Oh, Tampa. Okay, I was just kidding. I'm a huge Cowboy fan. So, but you can tell us what is something that we don't know about Rob that we might want to know,
So
or something that most people don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, most guys know that I'm a math guy first, and the origins are a weird place for the math piece. Is growing up, and I was a billiards player growing up. I was 16. I was a baseball player, but I played billiards, so I grew up in a pool hall. I knew every angle. I played tournaments. I would travel around and play in 9-ball tournaments as a kid against adults, and really learned a lot about business life in the pool halls and bowling alleys and other weird spots that most people stray from, especially at that age. But I learned a lot in learning how to play poker, the numbers of poker, gin, all the fun games that come along with playing billiards and pool. But that is a big part of my upbringing, was doing that and being pretty good at billiards and 9-ball and pool and doing the tournament scene. In that, but as a kid, that was it was kind of what shaped me today.
That's awesome. Well, man, I'll have to tell you, it's been fun hanging with you today and just hearing a little bit about you, some of your insights, hearing about AFR, and you just pulling the curtain, back a little bit for us to see. So we certainly appreciate hearing those things and your insights. And so, for those of you that are listening to this, you're tuned in. If you're a broker and you're looking for a lender partner who's competitive, someone who's reliable, easy to work with, get connected with AFR. You can visit them, get connected. You can go to aimgroup.com/lender. That's aimgroup.com/lender. And we'll get you connected to AFR, make it real simple and easy for you. And if you've enjoyed this episode, just hit the follow, leave a quick review, and share it with 10 of your LO team or crew or whatever it is. And until next time, keep leveling up, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.